Remember when they hate, didn't think we make it. Now they break their neck just to look at me. Remember when I called you, and you didn't fall through. Now you hate yourself and look at me, look at me. You made it.
And what up, what up, what up? What's good with y'all? Alright, so what are we getting into today? Alright, so right now it is dark 30. It's kind of late. Got a lot on my mind. I can't sleep. So I want to get up. I want to go for a little drive. Figure while I'm already out, I'll throw together a vlog for y'all because this is something that you guys asked me a lot since I didn't really do a lot of documentation on the LS3 G35. You guys have been asking for a build breakdown. So today I'm gonna be giving y'all a build breakdown. This is gonna be a late night vibe, but you know, I wanna get out the house, get a little drive. Yep, still got stuff all over the place. Haven't really set nothing back up. But yeah, y'all can see it is late, dark out here. But yeah, we're gonna be taking the LS3G. Today I'm gonna be giving y'all, or tonight I'm gonna be giving y'all a full build breakdown, man. You guys know I let my boy White Aaron take over this build. That way he can make content. It was pretty much to direct people to go check out his YouTube channel. That's why I let him get the content on that. So I didn't really do too much documentation. I was pretty much getting all the parts and just dropping off stuff to him. So I know a lot of people are interested on how to do the swap, what it takes to do the swap. So today I'm gonna give y'all, you know, kind of the rundown on things that you guys really need to do. Let me grab keys, warm this thing up, and then we'll head out, man. So hopefully y'all gonna be vibing with your boy tonight while I'm clearing my head and getting the video out for y'all. And again, since it is late, I know some of y'all may want to cold start, but we ain't gonna do no cold start today.
So we got a reason to get a little lifted, all the smoke that they wanted. Cause I ain't worried about shit, to keep it honest. I get lifted on the smoke and it feels so right. I've been with it from the jump, I live my own life. Take my hits and keep on shining through these cold nights. Never need that cosign, I'm gon' make it in no time. Ay, lights on me like Broadway, so divine like Dante. I was just a little peewee, never thought I'd take it such a long way. Do a verse and get 3 stacks, now I really gotta thank Andre. From an outcast to a big boy, now we all paid. I've been feeling like a child, growing in the wild. When you do your own thing, that's never out of style. When it all goes sideways, I'll find my way out. I just gotta do it my way, that's straight from the ground. I cracked the seal on the set, burn out the wheels on this bitch. Way too much to celebrate, so we got a reason to get a little lifted, all the smoke that they wanted. Cause I ain't worried about shit, to keep it honest. I seen a lot for my age, did some dirt in my days.
Alright, so here we are on the iconic 7th Street, where all the street races used to go down at, man. Figured I'd come over here, give y'all a full build breakdown on the LS3 G35, aka the G62. So, for the people that aren't familiar with me or familiar with my builds, this is my LS3 G35 sedan. All right, so the way this build came about is I currently have 11 cars. This is my very first 4-door build, and this is also the only naturally aspirated car that I have in the collection. Everything else other than this is either supercharged or turbocharged, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. This is my only naturally aspirated car, and it's, you know, LS3 car. So the way this build came about, man, was, long story short, I ended up having a daughter and I didn't have any 4-door cars. Everything was 2-door coupes, so I really needed a 4-door car. I wanted a cool little family car to build, and I came up with this thing. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do an LS3 and the G35 because I got an LSA 350Z, I got a, you know, Vets and all the other shit. So I ended up loving LS3s, man, and I felt like it is the best bang for buck motor. And I really felt like an LS3 in here would just be a super fun street car, also be a sleeper. So this entire build is nothing like my other cars. This build was meant to be a sleeper, so it is stock based, just OEM plus vibe, I guess you could say. You can hear it sitting here idling, chopping up a storm. So a lot of people have questions saying, how did you do the swap? What parts did you use, etc, etc. So I am partnered up with ISR. I run their kit on my LSA 350Z. They naturally sent me another kit. I had it just sitting in the archives for a while, and when I got this car, it made the most sense to do the swap in here because I already had the kit. So ISR does not advertise this kit for the G35 sedan, but they do advertise it for the G35 Coupe and the 350Z. So the 350Z, the G35 Coupe, and the G35 sedan all pretty much share the same chassis. So any swap kit that will work for a 350Z or a G35 Coupe will work on a G35 sedan. Even though ISR doesn't advertise their kit to really be compatible with the sedan, as you can see and you can hear, it is compatible with the sedan. So the only real difference is the exhaust length is going to be a bit different, and the drive shaft just needs to be lengthened up a little bit longer. Everything works in conjunction with each other. So this is a full ISR kit. The difference between this and my 350Z is on my 350Z, since originally when I did the LS3 on my 350Z, it was naturally aspirated setup. I didn't do the AC because I didn't know how to get it to work. Even though the AC is in charge right now, the AC on this car does work. So AC, heater, there's no real lights on other than the check engine light on the dash. The check engine light is from the vehicle speed sensor. If it was a T56 Trans, then the vehicle speed sensor would work. But since this is a 350Z, the vehicle speed sensor is off of the differential. You kind of get that code, but it doesn't affect drivability or anything, but it does show the code on there. So when I said this is gonna be like an OEM plus car, y'all can see the interior on here is immaculate. Like this whole little setup was built so I can put my baby girl in here, you know, take granny to church. No cracks on the dash, no rips anywhere on here. The interior is 100% factory. And since this is like a sleeper vibe that I was going for, even though it has the LS3 in here, I don't run any gauges. There's no gauges on here. I literally, like I said, I want it to be a sleeper, so decided not to use any of the gauges. No oil pressure gauge, nothing. All the factory gauges work like normal, so as far as temperature goes, you'll be able to see that. But if you want to see oil pressure or anything else, air intake temps, you can plug into the OBD2 port. It will show you everything just like factory. So there's no real point to, you know, necessarily have the gauges unless it was just something that you wanted to look at. I even have the factory radio on this thing, even though I have a Bluetooth aux set up to where I can use my Apple Play and all that, but I didn't want anything that took away from this from looking factory. So again, you can see factory radio and everything in there. Only thing that's to give away would be the shift knob, but other than that, everything else is 100% factory on here. And then let's go to the heart. Pop this, because I know this is what y'all want to see. So again, the LS3 literally fits in here like a stock motor. Like, it fits better than the VQ. Looking at it, look at the radiator support, you can see the LS3 sits lower than the factory VQ motor, probably by at least, I want to say 4.5 to 5 inches. Like, there's a lot of clearance. You can actually see the firewall and the VIN number on the firewall with the LS in there versus the VQ. You can see none of that. Yeah, it's not tighter than the VQ or anything. Everything works like factory. The cool part that I learned on the G35s is the factory radiator fans will work. On a 350Z, it gets a little on the tight side to where it doesn't necessarily really have room, so you will have to do a shorter fan setup. I use Spalls on my LSA 350Z with the Koyo radiator. That was the only thing I figured out that worked without having the car overheat and shit. But this one, I use a Koyo radiator, but I wanted to make up the factory fans just because the factory fans seem like they have the best flow rating compared to any of the aftermarket ones, honestly. So I highly recommend using your factory fans if you're gonna do this swap. As far as the oil pan, it comes with the Canton oil pan. That thing is garbage, don't use it. I got the LOJ oil pan. Oh fuck, let me show y'all too. Sorry about that. I wanna show y'all how I got the hardest part on this was getting the AC and everything to work on here. So the cool part about this setup is it actually runs the factory 350Z power steering pump, factory 350Z AC, and the factory 350Z alternator. All that was mated up to the LS3 engine, and that's how you get the factory AC to work. You can see everything down there, hopefully. And then then as far as any of the coolers, the power steering cooler is in the factory location. The power steering reservoir factory location. The coolant overflow, the wiper fluid, everything's in the factory location. Even the AC lines are all factory. Sorry, it's cold out here, and I'm a little on the sick side trying to get this out for y'all. But yeah, as far as suspension goes, nothing special. It's on DC coilovers. These are true style, so I do use the buckets on there, but I have Voodoo 13 knuckles and stuff in the back that I'm gonna be swapping out the factory arms with and getting it all aligned. Current wheel setup is 19 by 10.5 all the way around. I got 255s, and then on the rear, I wanna say I did 275s. That way we get a little bit of grip. Even though this thing does have a little bit of camber, it actually hooks up and work. I'm gonna be throwing this thing on the dyno on Friday to get the tune and everything finalized. Tail light covers are made by my boy Andre. And then we have the wing right here. That's also made by my boy Andre. This is the sport package, so you see it has the mud flaps. Also to go along with my OEM Plus vibe, I just did a little side splitter, kept the factory mud flaps, factory mud guards, and then I added the front lip on here. This is the G35X front bumper, so you can see it has a little opening right there for a little bit of the cooling or whatever. I guess it was for the G35X is all-wheel drive. It has a little cooler right there, so it has that extra vent, but I want to do that on here just because I thought it would, just a little something over what all the factory G's look like. But you can see the stance and everything looks good on this thing. It rides good. As far as gas mileage goes, man, honestly, I can't tell a difference between when I had a VQ in my other car and the gas mileage on here. Overall, man, the setup it's super simple. I got this car, it was all stock. Wasn't nothing special, but the body and the interior and everything was clean. It had a blown VQ in it, so it just made for the perfect option to do an LS3 in. But anybody that needs advice on LS3, a lot of people are asking me like, oh, what about a 6.0? What about a 5.3? Honestly, I would not waste my time with doing a 5.3. If you're going to be doing a LS swap and you know you're going to be keeping it naturally aspirated, I will automatically opt in to go to LS3. The problem is when you go LS1 and you do head and cams and all that, by the time you spend the money, you end up spending what you would have spent to get an LS3, and then you wouldn't even make LS3 power. Usually full bolt-on LS1s probably make like 420 or something like that, which isn't really impressive. White Aaron stock LS3 with nothing, no cam, no anything, made 411. My C6 when it was naturally aspirated made 476 with a similar setup, and then my 350Z naturally aspirated made 496, which I think this should be roughly between both of those. I have a different intake manifold that currently isn't on here. It's getting warrantied out, so that'll be swapped out. But yeah, man, if you're gonna do it, I would say do an LS3. When people ask me like, oh, what about far as boost? Like, you already have the LSA 350Z. Why don't you throw a centrifugal on here? Honestly, there's no room for a centrifugal supercharger on here. That's why I did a root style supercharger on the LSA 350Z. And then as far as the turbo goes, again, there's really no room. You'd have to do a rear mount. It will get all funky with the lines, and it would just get weird. So if I was to boost this one, which I probably won't, I want to, but I'm probably not gonna do it. I would probably do a Magnuson or something on here, or a factory LSA to get this thing right around probably like 650 wheel. I feel like 650 wheel, and this would be like a perfect setup if I was gonna supercharge it. But honestly, man, I say get an LS3, throw a cam on there, do the supporting mods like the lifters and trillion upgrade and all that. See how you like it. See how you like it, because with the gearing on the 350Z and the G, the gearing is so short to where the car is almost like perfect on the street. Like my 350Z when it was NA, I had RAAA all the way around it, and that thing was like a dig monster. Like the gears were short, light to light, quarter mile stuff, like it felt insanely fast. So once I put the LSA on it, it was like overpowered, no more traction, it's spinning, it's breaking shit. So I feel like the perfect combo was the LS3. I almost pulled the LSA off of my 350Z to convert it back naturally aspirated. So when it came time to do this build, I was like, ah, this is perfect. I'm gonna just do a naturally aspirated LS3. That way I'm not, regretting the decision and wanting to pull a supercharger off. But you can hear this thing, man, it sounds good. Currently the cutout is open right now. Sitting here chopping away. But again, as far as the 5.3, man, a 5.3, I would not even entertain a 5.3 unless you were for sure going boost. If you're gonna boost it, then by all means you can do a 5.3. But at the same token, any LS from a 5.3, a 6.0, 6.2 LS3, or a 7.0 LS7, they all gonna mount and bolt in the same. There's really no difference between how they're gonna bolt up. It's just the displacements that's gonna be different. So if you're doing a naturally aspirated car, I would say 6.2. If you really wanted to push it, a LS7 would be a good option, but I feel like the LS3s are a bit more reliable than the LS7s. But when it comes to NA power, obviously the LS7 is gonna be king because of the displacement. But a 5.3 just, it would not be worth doing, man. You could do an iron block 6.0, but the problem with that is you add the weight. More than likely, if you do a 6.0, you could do a 408 stroker. You could put LS3 heads on there and all that other stuff. But then once you do all that, you still have the added weight of the iron block. So if you got an LS3, you want to do an NA build, you can stroke that out to a 416, 418. I've seen LS3 stroked as far as 428s, which is a weird number because you see the 427s, but Texas Speed offers a 428 kit. If you wanted to really do a naturally aspirated LS3 to possibly make like 600 plus, that would be the option. I think if this blows up and I don't decide to do an LSA in it, I think that would be the option for me, would be a stroker LS3 setup. But right now, man, this thing feels good. I love it. It's literally probably the perfect street car. I would highly recommend people to do it, man. I'm not saying like, well, y'all know I hate DQs, but that's not why I'm telling y'all to do it. It's just the balance, how low it sits, it just makes the car feel so much better. Like a LS3 and a 350Z is a perfect option. And even in the sedan, it feels relatively good. These cars aren't that heavy like people would think, but I want to say they're not much heavier than a 350Z or a G35 Coupe, honestly. Like you might want to look at, Wikipedia and check the weights out. So for a sleeper, this works so well, man. So hopefully that helps somebody. Again, I am using the ISR kit, but LOJ also makes a super dope kit. I really love the LOJ kit. The only thing with the LOJ kit is if you use the LOJ kit, you'll have to use their headers and you'll have to use their full exhaust, which gets extremely pricey. The thing I like about the ISR kit is when you have the ISR kit, any aftermarket exhaust will work on the LS swap. So if you already have a Tomei, their headers were made up with your Tomei Y pipe and your Tomei catback. So that's the plus of the ISR kit. Cool part for this that I really like is this is a off-the-shelf Stillen exhaust. The Stillen exhaust is the only exhaust that comes in a full 2.5 inch, but instead of it having a Y pipe, it actually has an X pipe. I've tested this theory, I've tested this, there's a video on it, literally back-to-back dyno comparisons. I picked up 50 wheel horsepower just by having a bigger exhaust. A single 3-inch exhaust is not going to be enough flow for an LS3. You will have to do a dual 3-inch or at minimum a dual 2.5 inch with the X pipe. Like I said, I picked up 50 wheel horsepower. So if you have LS, single 3-inch is guaranteed choking you out on power, man. 100% proven. I've done it. So I love the Stillen setup. Kind of pricey, but like I said, it's the only off-the-shelf option. Other than that, man, I did the cutouts on it. There's two different options for the Stillen. They have the Type 1 and the revised version, which is the Type 2. I think one's a little louder than the other one. I think I got the quieter version, again, because I'm gonna have my baby in here. So I didn't want her hearing no droning or anything. That's why I added the electric cutouts to this. But yeah, man, I really hope more people are starting to really look into the swap, man. It is a dope swap. It makes so much sense. You don't lose anything. There's 100% benefit, and you don't have the finickiness of a VQ. A lot of people are like, oh, do an HR swap. Once you do an HR swap, it's not a cheap swap to do. So, you do that, you make 330 horsepower naturally aspirated on E85 or whatever they make. You go to Turbowood, now now you're more than what this probably would have cost. And my opinion, I prefer LS3, man. So yeah, we're gonna get some here, let this thing chop away. Look at that, fitment looks good. Like, you can't say this ain't a good looking car. Like, you can literally drive this thing anywhere. It's not something to where it's gonna be super hot, you're gonna be getting pulled over in. Like, it's just a sleeper. Once the cutouts are closed, it's quiet as hell. Plus, not many people expect it from a 4-door G. Got a little beauty shot here. This week, man, interested in seeing what this thing's gonna be putting down. The goal is 500, but I'm not sure if it's gonna make 500 on the current intake manifold. This is a ported throttle body setup, but I have this other intake manifold that I really want to try. But I mean, I guess it'll be a good comparison. I get to compare a stock ported intake manifold versus this new aftermarket intake manifold, which is supposed to be the new hotness. So we're gonna be seeing, but hopefully this answers some of y'all questions, man. If there's any other questions that you guys have, like, let me know. Hopefully once this is all said and done, maybe I'll do a full build breakdown for y'all, letting you guys know exactly how much everything costs. That way you guys have a better idea, because there's like a myth that you can do an LS swap for 10 grand on a 350 or a G, which ain't really the case. Like, let's be realistic. So I'll do a full build breakdown maybe in the next coming weeks or something, once I get everything done, and then I'll let you guys know, and you know, we can tally everything up and just see exactly how much I am into this car. So I really hope the information I gave y'all will help somebody today.
I've been going too crazy, these niggas too shady, speed limit 65. I'm about to do